The 1999 World Supersport Championship kicks off at Kyalami in South Africa. The World Series of 1998 finally being granted full world title status, and pole position for a newcomer, the 21-year-old from Barcelona, Ruben Zaus, on the DC Jeans R6 Yamaha, 1:47.293, his lap time. Behind him, the 21-year-old South African champion Brett McLeod on Suzuki, Ian McPherson making his debut on the German-based factory Kawasaki, and the final man on the front row of the grid, Stefan Chambon, on the Alstara Corona Suzuki. The defending champion on the second row of the grid, that's Fabrizio Pirovano on the second of the Alstara Corona bikes. And away they go in the scalding heat of South Africa, and a good start from Ruben Zaus. And the lanky Spaniard is the man at the front, with Ian McPherson in second place behind him. And as they dive into a left-hander, it's Brett McLeod snatching second place from McPherson. So the South African champion looking threatening on the first lap. Zaus at the front then, but McLeod Suzuki swoops past for a brief moment of glory before engine trouble intervenes. McPherson in second place, but the red flag is out. The accident to Brett McLeod, fatal injuries for the South African champion, and a restart of this first round of the 1999 World Supersport Championship Series. So both Pirovano and Chambon now on the front row of the grid, but Pirovano, the defending champion, gets an awful start. And once again, it's Ruben Zaus, the man at the front, just edging out Ian McPherson, the gritty little Scotsman, the former British Superbike rider, in second place once again. Our first glimpse then of Ruben Zaus on the world stage, and it's an impressive one. The R6 Yamaha leads, Kawasaki second, Chambon on the Alstara Corona Suzuki in third place. The DC Jeans Yamaha, the teammate of Ruben Zaus, is the veteran Dutchman Wilco Zeelenberg. He's up there as well, just to prove how quick these R6 Yamahas are. And there's Pirovano, downfield on the Alstara Corona Suzuki. A lot of work to do for the tiny 39-year-old defending champion. His predecessor, number 4, the Ducati of Paolo Cazzoli, is in there as well, the 1997 champ, lying about 7th at the moment as they peel through the first lap. Drop steeply downhill, and there is Zeelenberg right on the tail of the number 3 Suzuki of Stefan Chambon. Chambon, of course, was the winner here at Kyalami last year, beating Vito Gureschi on his YZF Yamaha, and Pirovano in third place ahead of Paolo Cazzoli. And look at this, Stefan Chambon tries an audacious inside manoeuvre there on Ian McPherson, doesn't quite make it stick. He knows only too well that he's got the second DC Jeans Yamaha of Zeelenberg right there behind him. And another R6 Yamaha in 5th place there is one of the Yamaha Deutschland bikes, the team being run by Udo Mark, former German Pro Superbike champion. Look at the amount of room that Ruben Zaus is giving himself, using half the pit lane going into the right-hander at the end of the start and finish straight. Zeelenberg still attacking the tiny Stefan Chambon, 34 years old, 34 inches high, the diminutive former Super Motard star. Number 3 hanging on in third place. He, of course, just missed out on second place in the championship last year at the last round in Assen in a drastic showdown with Vito Gureschi. Gureschi bravely splitting the Alstara Corona Suzukis to snatch second place in the series. Ruben Zaus still leads. Ian McPherson, 30-year-old Scotsman, in second place. Finished 6th in the British Superbike Series back in 1997, and he cuts through on the inside and makes first place his. That surprised Zaus. And he's making this Kawasaki look good. They only had the 17-year-old German Stefan Nobel on it last year, and it didn't look that fast. It was only when a more experienced rider had a go on the bike and said, hang on, this bike's good. We need a more experienced rider on it. And the man selected by team manager Harold Eckel was this little guy, Ian McPherson. McPherson leads, Zaus second, Stefan Chambon in third place. We've lost Wilco Zeelenberg. And it's Pirovano now who's through past Zeelenberg into fourth place. Perariba on the first of the Castrol Hondas is behind him. And in 10th place, the 17-year-old Englishman, Jamie Toseland. Toseland, of course, riding his second season with that Castrol Honda team, the British-based Castrol Honda team. Ruben Zaus really laid on that R6 Yamaha. McPherson is still there at the front of him. Stefan Chambon still threatening in third place, and Pirovano making progress all the time in fourth. Once again, using the exit to the pit lane. The guys absolutely taking it as wide as they can into that first turn. And Zaus right up the rear end of that Kawasaki. An anxious glance over the left shoulder there of Ian McPherson. Moves out to the left, keeps Zaus just behind him. What a contrast in styles. The short, bandy-legged Scotsman, the tall, rangy 6-foot Catalan from just outside Barcelona. Oh, and he's gone down! Loses the front end, and a distraught Ruben Zaus has dumped that R6 Yamaha big time. And that is something we're going to get used to during the course of this year. Ruben Zaus, always fast, but always prone to crash. And it looked as if he almost grounded the bike. He simply grounded the crankcase, down it went. And that leaves Ian McPherson clear for a possible debut win in his first World Supersport Championship race. The Kawasaki leads. And Pirovano's pushed through into second place, ahead of teammate Stefan Chambon. He was always that little bit quicker during the course of 1998. 39 years old now, Pirovano. 10 World Superbike victories to his credit between 1988 and 1993. Oh, and he's taking that wide line into the first turn to good effect. Chambon not letting him go. Great friends off the track, but this is racing. Stefan Chambon would like that title. The bird's not too bothered, is he? A sight we saw often during 1998, the two Alstara Corona Suzukis in perfect formation, running 1 and 3. And behind them, formation riding for the Yamaha Deutschland pairing of Jörg Teuchert, number 21, and Christian Kellner, number 22. Another brand new team and another outstanding result. But problems for the Alstara Corona squad. Clear in second place now. Stefan Chambon, the smoking Suzuki of Fabrizio Pirovano, indicates that he's in big engine trouble. And there's oil dropping as well from that Suzuki, which won't be necessarily doing everybody any good as we come to the closing stages into the final lap. Ian McPherson leads. Second place, Stefan Chambon. Into third place has come the veteran Spaniard Perariba, his first season aboard the Castrol Honda. Ian McPherson, the man from Old Kirkpatrick, just outside Glasgow. Married to Christine with 2 lovely little kids. Looks like he's going to take the victory for Harold Eckel's team, a victory they never looked like coming near during the course of 1998, and he's won it. McPherson wins then. 12.5 seconds ahead of the inimitable Stefan Chambon. The stand-up one-footed wheelie we've come to enjoy so much. And look at that darkie. And third place for Teuchert, fourth place for Christian Kellner, because Perariba has crashed out on the last lap. In fact, he claimed it was on the oil deposited by Fabrizio Pirovano, and he had words with Pirot afterwards. He wasn't too pleased about that. And there is a battered Perariba. He's remounted and salvaged a single point in 15th place, but he wasn't a happy man. May the 2nd and the World Supersport Series moved on to Donington Park in Derbyshire. And for the third year running, pole position went to the 1997 champion Paolo Cazzoli on his Ducati. A time of 1:37.348 put him on pole ahead of Ian McPherson and surprise man David de Gea on the 10 Honda. Third on the grid ahead of Stefan Chambon Suzuki. The second row of the grid had Perariba's Castrol Honda, Jörg Teuchert's R6 Yamaha, William Kost on the Elf Honda, and Wilco Zeelenberg on the second of those Yamahas. And the first man on the third row of the grid, none other than Jamie Whittam. James Whittam, 8th in the World Superbike Series the previous year, a guest artiste here for the Belgarda Yamaha team, who'd lost Massimo Meregali when he broke his wrist in the Brett McLeod incident in South Africa. Further down the grid, 15th place qualifying for James Toseland on the second of the Castrol Hondas. Cazzoli, winner for the past 2 years here at Donington Park, and James Whittam reckons that he's a big threat for the win again. But he doesn't get away so well. That's Ian McPherson who gets away at the front. And as they peel into Redgate, there's a coming together up the inside. Zeelenberg went in deep and hot, and he takes out both the yellow men off the front row, David de Gea and Paolo Cazzoli. Cazzoli's deeply upset about that. And further down the track as they exit Redgate, there's another huge get-off. Watch this. That was Perariba, whose Castrol Hondas seemed to be torpedoed from the back. So bedlam into and out of the first turn. Ian McPherson was ahead of all that, but it seemed to shake him up anyway, because he lost the lead on lap 1 to that little guy Stefan Chambon. Chambon's leading it, second place for Ian McPherson. Third place William Kost ahead of Pirovano. And in 5th place it's Yves Briguet on the Endure Metal System Suzuki, the guy who pushed Cazzoli so hard and set the lap record here during the course of last year's dramatic race. Just behind him, Jamie Toseland on the Castrol Honda. And number 7, Pier Giorgio Bontempi's in there. There's Toseland being elbowed aside by Jörg Teuchert, the reigning German Supersports champion, making his first appearance this year on the world stage. Chambon leads, McPherson, William Kost, Pirovano. Bontempi in 5th place as they elevate the front wheels, blistering pace down the Starkey Straight, through the S's, and then that descent to the Melbourne hairpin. And there's number 45, our first glimpse of James Whittam. He didn't start out so fast, but the superbike specialist is picking his way through this Supersports field now and beginning to look a threat on that Meregali Yamaha. Chambon still at the front as they keel through Goddard's. McPherson, of course, the winner of the first race here, and Chambon was second, so at the moment they're dead level on points in the Championship Series. James Whittam beginning to move up onto the back wheel of Yves Briguet, the 34-year-old Swiss rider, the former European Supersports champion. And there's Witt going underneath him as they peel down through Craner curves. And Whittam now is through into 3rd place. 3rd place, James Whittam, number 45. 32-year-old from Huddersfield. Wasn't able to secure himself a full-time ride for 1999, so this is a sort of one-off wildcard entry, and isn't he making it count? In fact, he's outbraking McPherson as they come to the end of the Starkey Straight. huge outbursts of clacks and horns for this wildly popular rider. And he's looking good, he's looking a real threat. Well, he thought Paolo Cazzoli was the real threat, and Cazzoli went out on the first turn. Stefan Chambon must know that Wiley Whittam is right there behind him and looking for a way through. Chambon, it is still leads. Cost is in 4th place. 5th place Pirovano. Bontempi still in there, Briguet still in there. And cheering all round this track. 70,000 people at Donington Park, and they are only the ones who could get in. I certainly knew several people who got stuck in traffic jams and never made it into the track here at Donington Park, gave up and went home. And here's James's favourite attacking point. He comes down the inside at Starkey's. Tucks underneath the Suzuki. Chambon has nowhere to go. Whittam leads. Remember, one of his greatest disappointments here was losing the 1996 British Superbike Championship to his teammate Niall Mackenzie right here at Donington Park. A wrong choice of tyres on his Cadbury's Boost Yamaha cost him dearly that day. Nothing wrong with his choice of tyres, nor with his speed here at Donington Park today. World Supersport's debutant. And it's looking like it's going to be a good one for Whittam. McPherson holding strong in 3rd place. You'll notice his grey retro helmet from South Africa has been replaced by a rather fine custard yellow number that matches his Kawasaki rather sweeter. There's never been anything wrong with the colour combination as regards the Alstara Corona guys. That purple, yellow and chrome outfit, absolutely magnificent. But he's not managing to hold on to Whittam. Whittam has pulled out nearly 3 seconds now, on his way ultimately to a 4-second victory here at Donington Park. William Cost lying in 4th place, but Jörg Teuchert is the other R6 Yamaha on the move. The Yamaha Deutschland rider beginning to threaten that Elf Honda's 4th place. Nobody's threatening James Whittam's lead. The man who won the British Superbike title in 1991 and again in 1993. Won his first and so far only World Superbike victory in Indonesia in 1994 when he was 7th in the World Superbike Series. Twice on the podium on his way to 8th in the World Superbike Championship in 1997. A performance he repeated in 1998 with Harris Suzuki. Cost has been demoted to 5th place by the charging Teuchert. 9th place for John Crawford, the reigning British Supersports champion, on his Clarion Suzuki. And he's just behind James Toseland on the Castrol Honda, making up for the spectacular early exit of teammate Reba. But here comes the reception for James Whittam. Victory for the first time of asking for Whitt on the Belgada Yamaha. Another 2nd place for Stefan Chambon. And 3rd place for Ian McPherson. Another celebratory wheelie, this one's from Jörg Teuchert. And that 4th place combined with 3rd in South Africa puts him 3rd in the championship behind McPherson and Chambon, and Whittam now 4th.
Really good, I mean, perfect. A little bit of some shenanigans on the first couple of corners. There was a couple of guys down. I think Cassoli, one of them, which, I mean, he would have been a contender. He's been fast all week, but, you know, if he's out of it, that'll do me. I'm not going to argue with him. Apart from that, took some decent laps in, just trying to stay consistent. I figured out I could catch him if I kept doing the decent times, looking at my lap board, and no worries. What can I say? Tyre went off a little bit, but not as same as everybody else's. So
struggling all weekend, to be honest. And the last section of the track, you'll see it on television. I'm losing about a second a lap there. I'm making it up round the faster ones. Just struggling so much there. If it was in a short circuit, it might be a different story. But the seat snapped as well. With about 6 laps to go, and I managed to just hold on to third. I'm happy with that.
I'll bet he's happy with that, because it means he's leading the World Championship by just 1 point from the man on the left of the picture, Stefan Chambon. Two weeks later, the World Supersport Series arrived in Albacete in Spain, where Ian McPherson, with 1:34.91 second lap, achieved his first pole position of the season, ahead of Jörg Teuchert, Pier Giorgio Bontempi and Paolo Cazzoli's Ducati. The second row of the grid was headed by Stefan Chambon, Pere Riba, Wilco Zeelenberg and Christian Kellner, with Ruben Zaus back in 9th place on the grid, alongside William Kost and David de Gier. Back in 16th place on the grid, astonishingly, Fabrizio Pirovano, who crashed out at Donington Park and so far has scored no points in the defence of his title. At least the weather is better than last year when it rained on us all day in Albacete. Can Ian McPherson and the Kawasaki make the most of that pole position? They weave their way down the start and finish straight towards the first turn. The right-hander, and into it first, Pier Giorgio Bontempi on the Belgada Yamaha, ahead of Stefan Chambon and Ian McPherson, and I think Jörg Teuchert was in there too. Everybody safely through the first bend, but not safely through the second one, and it's Luca Conforti on the Team Italia Kawasaki, who is straight out of proceedings within the first 15 seconds, and not very happy about it. Everybody else still in contention, none more so than the veteran Bontempi, former World Superbike star, making his first appearance this year in the World Supersport Series. And Teuchert is in second place, ahead of Chambon and Ian McPherson. So R6 Yamahas 1 and 2, Suzuki 3, Kawasaki 4, Paolo Cazzoli in 5th place on Ducati. Pere Riba's in there as well, a couple of places behind, and there is Ruben Zaus beginning to make his move from his disappointing qualifying position. And also Fabrizio Pirovano, you can never discount him when the flag drops. Not so fast in qualifying, but making moves through the field already in the race. Bontempi, 31-year-old Italian from Ancona, is in the lead. He has no teammate this time around. James Whittam deciding not to ride here at Albacete, and Massimo Merigali still recovering from that broken wrist. Chambon, and look at the way Cazzoli is scything through on that yellow Ducati. He's now through into 4th place. Ian McPherson and the Kawasaki had no answer to that move. And look at the speed he's drafted down the straight at 226 kilometers per hour for that yellow Ducati, which is of course a 748cc twin-cylinder machine against the 600cc four-cylinder bikes around it. Second place for Jörg Teuchert, great stylist, similar looking rider to James Whittam. If he could produce the result that Whittam got a couple of weeks ago at Donington Park, I'm sure he'd be well thrilled. But that battle for 3rd place, Chambon really coming under brutal assault and finally having to give way to Paolo Cazzoli. Oh, but he straight away nips back inside. And no quarter being asked, none given between Chambon and Cazzoli's back underneath him. Bontempi hanging on at the front, Cazzoli's coming, and so too is Pere Riba on the number 17 Castrol Honda. So this developing into a tremendous race, a great contrast with the dire conditions we had at Albacete in 1998. Rain all the way through, and the man who's forced his way to the front, none other than Paolo Cazzoli. He finished 6th in the rain last year. and 6th in the dry the year before. So here he is, dry conditions once again, and he's in the lead. Paolo Cazzoli leads it from Bontempi, Teuchert, Stefan Chambon. But at that moment, Cazzoli has overdone it. He's forced a bit too hard. Look at the speed he had down the straight, 231 kilometres per hour. Did he need to be going that deep into the first turn? He can't believe what he's done. The experienced 33-year-old former Grand Prix star throws away a convincing-looking lead. Convincing in that he'd come through from about 6th place, almost unchallenged. Oh, and look how close they're getting there for 2nd place. And that is Ian McPherson desperately trying to force a way through on the Kawasaki. Jörg Teuchert not giving ground. And Peraribas come up the inside. The Spanish crowd cheering wildly, but at that moment, the green Kawasaki motor's straight off the track. We think it's dropped a valve, engine trouble for the Kawasaki, and a disaster there for Ian McPherson. No points for him at Albacete. His championship lead will be gone. The only thing that's working in his favour at the moment is the man who was 1 point behind him in the series. Stefan Chambon is beginning to slip back downfield, struggling to stay on the pace. At the front, absolutely neck and neck, Bontempi leads. And somewhere in there behind him is Teuchert. Here he comes. He's tried this the lap before and run wide into the first turn. This time he makes it stick. Jörg Teuchert. The Yamaha Deutschland R6 is at the front. Pier Giorgio Bontempi, the Belgada Yamaha R6 in 2nd place, and Peraribas CBR 600F Honda in 3rd. Whatever happens, Reba will be delighted to stay at least in 3rd place, because he too has had an awful start to the series. 2 crashes leaving him with absolutely 0 points. Behind the leading trio, Stefan Chambon in battle there with Christian Kellner, Yves Briguet, number 34, in 6th place. Perariba, of course, finished 7th in the Supersports World Series last year on a private Ducati, and it was that performance, that spirited performance, that brought him to the attention of Neil Tuxworth, the Castrol Honda team manager. And right now, the spirited performer is this guy, Jörg Teuchert. 29 years old, has only been road racing for 5 years. Before that, he was a leading enduro and motocross rider in Germany. Great junior enduro rider, like his father before him, in fact. And there's Christian Kellner, his fellow Bavarian and teammate, in 4th place. He's broken clear of this battle between the Alstara Corona Suzukis and the Suzuki of Yves Briguet. The crowd being kept on its toes by the constant challenge here of Perariba on that new Honda. But look at these brand spanking new R6 Yamahas. Unlike the R7s in the World Superbike Series, they seem to have got right on the pace right away. And it looks as if they're going to have another victory here. Bontempi shading Teuchert all the way down the straight, but doesn't seem to quite have the ultimate few miles per hour to get past that sideways Yamaha in front of him. And that's really the best spot to do it down here into the first turn at Albacete. On their final lap now, it's still tight. The 3.5-kilometre Albacete circuit hosting a really good super sports race here this year. Oh, and a nasty moment there for Bontempi, and that may well have decided it. He bravely hangs on, doesn't high side, and the guy who was a great star of world endurance racing 2 or 3 years ago for Kawasaki is still there, but now looks like 2nd place is all he can get. Bontempi, of course, quite badly injured in that Laguna Seca pile-up in the World Superbike race last year on the starting grid. Left him with 2 broken wrists. It's been a long road back to full fitness for him. But he's going to finish a very fine 2nd here at Albacete. And look at them all glancing over their left shoulders. Don't worry, fellas. You're going to be 1, 2 and 3 if you stay on board from here on in. Through the last turn, Jörg Teuchert takes victory. Celebrates in novel style by pumping the handlebars. of his Yamaha. A slightly despondent looking Bontempi. Perariba, he's chuffed to finish on the rostrum. 4th place for Kellner. And then the Alstara Corona Suzuki's come galloping across. Chambon holding off Pirovano. Christian Kellner in 6th place. So Teuchert leapfrogs Chambon, and the stricken McPherson takes the lead in the championship. Bontempi through into 4th place ahead of Christian Kellner and Witten.
I was looking for Pierre Giorgio Bontempi, what he did. And on the straight, his Yamaha was a little bit faster. And I must give a lot of risk. I break him out and I passed him, but I was too long in the corner and he passed me back. But the next round I think, okay, I do it back. So I was in front and I saw I can ride a little bit faster as he. And if I ride a very directly line, he can't pass me. So I make the shortest way, and so it's my first win.
I'm very happy for this race because for me it's the first time in this position. And I have just a little problem in my head. And I try all the race, push hard. And in the five last lap, I'm very pain, and I decide the second place is okay. For me, it's okay. I hope for my team.
Well, it certainly was for his team. The winners at Donington Park, 2nd here at Albacete, but victory for Jörg Teuchert in Spain. Two further weeks brought us to the fabulous Autodromo Nazionale di Monza, where Pier Giorgio Bontempi puts himself on pole position with a lap of 1:53.3 seconds, and behind him the brave Massimo Merigali making a return his family didn't want him to make. His broken wrist still a bit weak. He's not sure whether he can last race distance. Nonetheless, Stefan Chambon, back in 12th place, benefits from the demise of Jörg Teuchert, retakes the championship lead.
I try all the race to push hard, but here is my engine a little bit slow than other machine. And I waiting the last lap for go to in front of the rider. But in the last corner, I try to push hard for exit, and the rear tires go to sliding, and this problem not good for speed in the finish line.
The last time I went, or the one time before the last time I went to the Parabolica, I had no brakes. I had maybe a tank slap coming out of the chicane over there, over the ribble strip. So I had to pump a couple of times. So they overtake me over here. I had no speed around on the track, on the straight. And again, on the end of the straight, I didn't have enough brake to overbrake because all the race was good except the last lap. And I run out of the second chicane and I tried to adjust my brake lever, but I put out the out switch because it's right there. And then, well, I lost a lot of time, so I pushed the button directly on, but Ruben passed me and we were really close together. But I could slipstream by Ruben, and Bontempi make a little mistake, nearly high side in the last corner. So I was still lucky to win the race, but I led it for 90%. So I think I'm the real owner of this winning of this World Supersport race.
The DC Jeans Yamaha 1-2 and an R6 Yamaha 1-2-3. The Schloss Nurburg, the great medieval castle which overlooks the Nurburgring in Germany, where Jörg Teuchert suitably gets pole position with 1:43.927 second lap, ahead of Christian Kellner, Rubenshaus and Paolo Cazzoli, the 4th man on the front row of the grid. Mixed weather conditions here have already unsettled the World Superbike guys. But it looks as if number 22, Christian Kellner, is going to benefit from his second fastest qualifying position, and he takes the lead through the chicane, but behind him it's absolute bedlam. Into the gravel trap goes a lot of extremely unhappy people, including Wilco Zeelenberg. including Pier Giorgio Bontempi and Paolo Cazzoli. And it looked like one of the Endurance Metal Systems Suzuki's went hard up the inside, and no, it was Yves Breguet who was a victim as that hard charger up the inside took him out. Breguet goes down and the race gets red flagged. So as they turn the right-hander onto the finishing straight in front of the Dorint Hotel, it's time for a World Supersports restart. Who's going to make it to the first turn this time? Second question being, are they all going to stay on? And it looks as if Ruben Saus might have been the man to benefit. And this time he does beat Kellner to the first turn. But once again, there's a mess up at the back. Someone's gone straight on. That's number 31, Vito Iannuzzo, the 17-year-old. But down they have gone, including number 16, Sébastien Charpentier, the man who won in the rain for Elf Honda a year ago here at the Nurburgring. So once again, we have a red flag. Difficult to see who started that one, but the middle rear of the pack went down like 9 pins. Charpentier, one of the first down, 3 of them out, and Iannuzzo also in the gravel as well. Well, after a 15-minute practice session, because the track was now wet, the World Supersports guys back on the grid, but the cloud, you can see from the blue sky, the main cloud was immediately above the starting grid, and it fooled some of these guys and their team managers into putting full wet tyres on. Well, already the sun is peeping through as Ruben Saus, on a set of full wets, goes into the chicane. That certainly isn't going to help his cause. This turns out to be a race of tyres. Number 12, Ian McPherson, very reluctantly had full wets fitted by his team manager, Harold Eckel, and that's going to cause problems for the Kawasaki. James Toseland there towards the back of the pack on the Castrol Honda, number 52. Toseland at least is finishing all the races, is showing great consistency during this season. And here's Ruben Saus coming under attack from the Yamaha Deutschland pair who were first and second in qualifying. Cazzoli's in there, Pirovano's in there. But in the end, the main thing is going to be, what tyres have you chosen to go with? Because the weather is beginning to look okay. Teuchert leads, Saus second, Kellner third. Fourth place, Bontempi. Christian Kellner's distinctive lean over, knee out style. Giorgio Bontempi becoming something of a challenger for this World Supersports Championship, of course. After recent good results, Pirovano's in there past Cazzoli, Chambon. And some of the guys, of course, further back have chosen to go out with dry tyres, with slicks. So as this track does begin to dry out, they could be the guys who will benefit. Walter Damon on the Belgian Yamaha has gone down, and another crasher coming onto the start and finish straight. 2 of them have gone down, coming onto the start and finish straight. Oof. Now, if ever there was a red flag situation, perhaps that was it. But the German organisers are not covering themselves with glory this year. And in fact, World Superbike and Supersport won't be back at the Nürburgring in the year 2000. So 2 bikes sliding and skating their way down the finishing straight. The ambulance car parked perilously close to the track as the leaders go screaming past. Jörg Teuchert can't believe his eyes. He's at the front. Behind him, teammate Kellner, Bontempi, Pirovano becoming a threat as well. So far, so good for the tyres that these guys are using. They've formed the breakaway group. Ruben Saus is beginning to drop back. Bontempi sets the fastest lap, 1:48.811. A 1-2 at the moment for the home boys. How long will it last? We know that Jörg Teuchert has gone out with a mixed compound. There's intermediate tyres on there. Will the intermediates be good enough? Usually he's a wee bit quicker than his teammate Christian Kellner. At the moment he's not. Ruben Saus is one of the early retirements, having shredded the full wet back tyre. and now beginning to suffer problems. Number 21, York Toyhert, begins to drop back. Kellner second, Pirovano pushing him in third place. The fastest lap once more from Bontempi, 1:46.55, an indication of the fact that the track is drying consistently. That's a full second and a half quicker than his previous one. A battered Wilco Zeelenberg back in 12th place. And this is Pirovano trying to find a way past Christian Kellner. And this is the moment at which he might do it as they go blitzing downhill into the tight Dunlop curve, followed by that long pull uphill. The Suzuki's got to speed to hold off that R6 Yamaha. Sweeping through that left-right kink. All this much steeper than our camera makes it appear. And then as the crest the top of the hill, drop down a gear into the left-hander and head to the fast, critical bit curve, downhill right-hander. And this man, William Cost, is really beginning to make a move now on the Elf Honda. And that was York Toyhert made William Cost sit up then as his intermediate tyres finally let go and he threw it into the gravel. And William Cost, the man who started out on full slicks and has just worked his way carefully through the pack, is now up into third place. Bontempi, however, looks as if he's got victory in the bag. He comes up to lap Marco Borciani on the Team Gorella Rumi Honda. And Bontempi, 31 years old, lives now in Monte Carlo. Finished in 6th place in the 1993 World Superbike Series, 8th in 94, 10th in 1997. Unlucky 13th in 1998. Before accepting a ride on the brand new wide as if R6 Yamaha from Belgarda. And if he stays in first position in this race, and he's only got half a lap to go, then that will take him clear at the top of the championship table, because Stefan Chambon, making his way through the pack with a choice of dry tyre, isn't going to make it far enough. And at the moment, Bontempi will have 73 points to his name. Chambon probably won't better 60-odd points. He'll take the lead in the championship with Toyhert nailed on 54 points in third place. And William Cost, who will finish third, will move through to fourth place in the championship ahead of Ian McPherson and Christian Kellner. Bontempi's Belgarda team looking very happy with life. This was a race win he came so desperately close to achieving on home ground in Monza. He was disappointed at losing that. This time he's going to make certain of it. If he stays on board going through the Coca-Cola curve onto the finishing straight, Pier Giorgio Bontempi achieves another victory for the R6 Yamaha and Belgarda. We've had a different winner on every occasion in the World Supersport Series so far this year. Second place from Pirovano, number 1. Third place, William Cost, number 25 on the Elf Honda. Piro wondering what on earth that was all about. Bontempi, the new championship leader. McPherson, the former leader, hanging on in 5th place with a brave finish on full wets. Bontempi, the 5th winner in 5 races.
Very surprised this result, because I think it's not possible for me winner in here, because my condition is very down. But I'm very happy, and thanks for all staff Yamaha, because this race the machine is very good.
So a well-deserved win for Bontempi on a dramatic day in Germany. June the 27th, and we arrived at the Autodromo Santa Monica in Misano for the San Marino round. And pole position for that brave boy Massimo Merigali, 137.915 on the Belgarda Yamaha. Paolo Cazzoli second, Ruben Saus third, and Ian McPherson once more on the front row of the grid. Bontempi, winner of the last round, buried in 15th place in qualifying. So he's going to have to make one heck of a start to feature as they go into the first turn. Oh, and there's a huge collision. McPherson went in a bit hot on the Kawasaki, and he's taken out Perariba, and the luckless Yves Briguet, number 34, gets hammered from the back as he's going round the outside. A broken elbow and wrist for Perariba, a dislocated shoulder for Yves Briguet, which in fact keeps him out of the Endued Metal System Suzuki team for the rest of the season. At the front, Paolo Cazzoli has taken advantage of the confusion. He heads Ruben Saus, Massimo Meregali and Fabrizio Pirovano. And number 27, the lanky Roberto Panicchi, having a spirited outing on his bimotor. So the fuel-injected factory bimotor showing well round Misano in the hands of Roberto Panicchi as Cazzoli sets a fastest lap early on. So Cazzoli leads. Second place, Ruben Saus. Tucked in behind him, Meregali, and look at Pirovano right on the rear wheel of that R6 Yamaha. Another retirement here at Misano. The circuit always slippery here in San Marino. And the riders and their team managers have agreed that if there are any spots of rain, the leader will immediately throw up his hand and the race will be stopped. After the debacle at the Nurburgring, these guys don't want to be involved in a lottery again. Look at that man, number 27, Roberto Panicchi, hanging on to the leaders on the injected works bimotor. A brilliant ride by him. This will be far and away the best result the bimotor has achieved during this World Supersport season if Panicchi can hang on in there. Meregali, of course, his wrist getting stronger and stronger all the time, although he still has an ice pack on it between qualifying sessions. Oh, and look at Ruben Saus rear wheel steering that R6 Yamaha, riding it to the limit, as indeed is Cazzoli and the Ducati. These guys, of course, will be teammates in the year 2000, riding for Ducati together. Saus really sliding the rear end of that R6 Yamaha around. Truly a great successor to Vito Gureschi as a Yamaha Supersports racer par excellence. And at the moment still hanging on in the lead, although as they go tramping down the back straight towards the Tramonto, this is where the overtaking tends to take place. And Paolo Cazzoli once more gets himself into the lead. Grandstand view of the action for Meregali and Pirovano. This race looks like it could go all the way between these two. The 750 Ducati versus the 600 Yamaha as they hurtle across the start and finish line into the Misano curve, the first long sweeping right-hander. Through the next right, down to the Caro, which is a very, very crucial tight left-hander from which you've got to carry speed all the way down that back straight. Look at the state of that Ducati. Paolo Cazzoli, 33 years old now, former star of 125cc Grand Prix racing, and Roberto Panicchi, the 29-year-old Italian, has finally overcooked it, trying to hang on to them with the injected bimotor. What a shame. That would look like it was going to be far and away bimotor's best result this year. At the front, Saus in the lead, Cazzoli still right there behind him. Meregali, Pirovano, if you'd gone away for a few laps for a cup of tea, you could be forgiven for thinking that nothing had happened. But we've been seeing what is happening at the front as Cazzoli and Ruben Saus ride on the limit. Once again, heading out into the back straight, we come to the crucial point where Saus will find himself under attack from that Ducati. The Ducati slipstreams its way down and looks round the outside, then has a look for the inside. Can't make it work, has to stay put in second place. Pirovano, defending champion, winner here last year when he just about stripped off and hurled all his gear into the enthusiastic crowd. still a possible winner. Pirovano won with Merigali in second place, Cristiano Migliorati in third place and Stefan Chambon fourth at this event last year. Oh, and a big moment for the Ducati then. Paolo Cazzoli, almost high sides, going through Tramonto, backs right off the Ducati and backs into fourth place. Now can he make that ground back up? Suddenly Ruben Zaus is all alone at the front. This leading quartet well clear now. Now watch this moment. One second he looks as if he's going smoothly through there. The next moment the rear ends come round on him and Paolo picks it up like he failed to do in the Parabolica at a higher speed. Monza stays in one piece and stays there challenging for the rostrum. Obviously not easily unnerved. Gazzolio. Look at the speed at which he's coming underneath the other two at the end of that back straight into the Tramonto. The same curve at which he almost lost it last lap, no problems. Goes from fourth to second, back in contention again. And Stefan Chambon, number 3, is also beginning to close on the leaders in fifth place. There's the third and fourth men, Merigali and Pirovano. But the hand has gone up. Ruben Zaus has felt spots of rain, and that for him is enough. The Yamaha rider sticks his hand in the air, the rest of the guys follow suit, and Stefan Chambon is frustrated in his attempts to improve on fifth place. So a red flag here at Misano. Ruben Zaus is declared the race winner. Second place for Paolo Cazzoli, third place Massimo Merigali. Down in seventh place, Pier Giorgio Bontempi hangs on to his lead in the championship on 82 points. Stefan Chambon second on 76, Teuchert third on 64. And at the moment, McPherson way back, 47 points after that first turn crash.
For sure I'm feeling great because in Germany I was so angry because there was some things happened with the races, and for sure in the first race I started well and I was leading, but then we wrong on the tires and I was a little bit disappointed. Here I'm good. I started so well, and I don't know, I keep the bike on the circuit that must be important because they were slippery a lot, but not only for me, for everybody. And there it came the water, and I said to stop because I was the leader, and then I can decide what to do. For me it was better, and I think so for Cazzoli too, because we were a little bit, we had a little bit bad luck. No points, always in front, practices, but no points, and we are happy too. And for my team, Michelin, Yamaha, all the sponsoring, Schenker also, and Yamaha Spain for sure.
So yet another different race winner in the World Supersport Championship, Ruben Zaus, but the 5th race win for the R6 Yamaha. Second place, a very relieved Paolo Cazzoli. Gazzolio hadn't finished a race since the first round in South Africa. And Mayo Merigali, back from injury, third. A fortnight later, we moved across the Atlantic to Laguna Seca in the United States of America, where for the second year running, Stefan Chambon plants his Suzuki on pole position. 1:30.227 ahead of Paolo Cazzoli, Ian McPherson and Jörg Teuchert. Blazing heat, of course, here in California. Who's going to blaze his way to the first corner? In the lead, and it's already looking good for Stefan Chambon, McPherson, Paolo Cazzoli, Massimo Merigali's in there as well. Pirovano in 5th place. Chambon really loves this circuit, and he's showing that straight away. He finished second last year behind Cazzoli, and dropping down the infamous corkscrew. First screwing left, then dropping right off the edge of the world. McPherson losing out to second place Paolo Cazzoli at this stage in the race. What McPherson badly needs, of course, is to finish a race in a respectable position. His championship chances badly dented by DNFs, as indeed is Paolo Cazzoli, the 1997 champion. Just 2 race finishes to his credit so far. Wilco Zeelenberg back in the frame there, just behind Pirovano. Chambon is leading. Stefan Chambon, a great superstar of super motard in his heyday. That little guy, Fabrizio Pirovano, of course, was a great superstar of World Superbikes in his younger heyday, because I believe he still is in his heyday at the age of 39. Top speeds there, very consistent. Only Cazzoli a few kilometers per hour down at 182 on the Ducati. Doesn't seem to be making much difference to his charge. Talking of a charge, Jörg Teuchert is beginning to move into the reckoning there, just behind Zeelenberg, as they drop once more. Front wheel of the Kawasaki pouring the air as they drop down the corkscrew. And Paolo Cazzoli takes the lead. So the men who finished first and second last year lie first and second once again this year. 2 of the older oh, look at Chambon sliding his way into turn 1 on the Suzuki. That, of course, a product of his great days of super motard domination on the big 610cc 4-stroke Husqvarna. This guy just loves sliding bikes. McPherson still there in 3rd place. Merigali pushing hard in 4th. And in 5th place, Fabrizio Pirovano. McPherson going faster and faster as he tries to hold off that R6 Yamaha. James Toseland down in 13th place. Consistent finishing on the part of the young teenaged Englishman has been keeping him in a reasonable position in the championship chase. Chambon retakes the lead from Cazzoli. This has turned out to be a real burnout, slap-down dogfight between the 2 heroic veterans of World Supersports racing. And oil has been dropped. Bikes are beginning to go down on the corkscrew, and there goes Cazzoli's down. Cazzoli joins them. There's definitely oil on the track at the worst possible place. The red flags go out. And the race will be rerun, but will be rerun on aggregate. So a somewhat second-hand Paolo Cazzoli tries to leg the Ducati off pole position, but McPherson is the man who leads the charge into the first turn, ahead of Stefan Chambon, of course. Cristiano Migliorati makes a better start on the Endug Metal System Suzuki, edging out Pirovano. McPherson has a chance, of course, of getting an aggregate position better than the 3rd place he was holding at the end of the first half of the race. If he can get sufficient air between himself and Paolo Cazzoli, then he will finish in 2nd place on aggregate. And this is a look back from Pirovano's rear wheel. Fabrizio Pirovano, of course, was famous for his stop-start techniques in World Superbike at the beginning of the 90s. People used to often say that he was getting under their feet in the turns, and it's interesting to see how close Merigali gets mid-turn to the rear end of that Alstara Corona Suzuki here at Laguna Seca. Chambon losing 2nd place to a spirited Cristiano Migliorati. Working hard and bravely on a very second-hand Ducati there, Paolo Cazzoli in the middle of our picture. There's certainly nothing wrong with the acceleration of that little Suzuki of Pirovano's. It really takes off coming out of the turns. Suzuki at present 2, 3 and 4 behind that flying green Kawasaki of Scotsman Ian McPherson. Migliorati in second place, of course, was 6th in the series, riding their Team Endurg Ducati last year, and is proving adept at adapting to the 4-cylinder machine, holding second place here as he drops down the corkscrew and seems to be getting quicker as the season progresses. Once more aboard with Pirovano, Meregali for company, trying to find a way up the inside as they come down to the final turn. Look how close he gets. Almost gets balked really by Piro's lack of mid-turn speed, and then that little Suzuki takes off like a scalded cat, and Meregali's desperately trying to catch him up again. Into turn 1, another little look up the inside. Meregali again gets very, very close. This race, of course, is one of 2 halves. It'll be an aggregate decision at the end based on time as to who comes out as the winner. And that is Meregali chasing Pirovano. Look at the top speed of that Kawasaki McPherson, 194 kilometers per hour. Really tramping. And Meregali trying every way he can to get past Pirovano's Suzuki. Over the hilltop, and then the sheer drop down through the corkscrew. And this is what it looks like. There's nothing wrong with the Piro's speed down through there, is there? With 5 laps to go, however, with a new fastest record lap of 1:30.807, Chambon has got himself onto the rear end of McPherson as Meregali gets past Pirovano. After all that effort, finally pays off. Migliorati has gone back behind them, just in front of Cazzoli. In the pit lane, the teams will be doing frantic mathematics to figure out where their riders actually are in the race. Pirovano hanging on to Meregali. Meregali taking a long look over his right shoulder as he heads for the corkscrew. And I can see why, as Pirovano tries to move in on his left-hand side. A brave move, doesn't quite work. Cazzoli's rear guard action, trying to hang on to that second place overall. Oh, and look at that moment for Pirovano, but he still manages to hold on to his place. For a moment it looked like Meregali must get past him, but no, the little guy recovers, says, "You stay there. I'm holding this position, thank you." Getting himself well off the track down the start and finish straight. Pirovano second, of course, in the World Superbike Championships back in 1990 when he was riding for Yamaha. All his 10 World Superbike victories took place on Yamahas. And at the front, Stefan Chambon has passed Ian McPherson. So Chambon now will be sure to take first place overall on aggregate if he stays like this. And McPherson should surely take second place on time from Paolo Cazzoli. And that's the moment at which Chambon went inside the Kawasaki going into turn 1. Made the pass as they turned onto the home straight. Ian tries to cut back and go tight, but he hasn't quite got the momentum to retake the lead. And on the final lap, as things stand at the moment, Stefan Chambon will take overall victory by 4 seconds from Ian McPherson, and McPherson should in turn have about 6 seconds gap on Paolo Cazzoli. Dropping down through the corkscrew for the last time, the 1996 French Superbike champion. And that was almost as soon as he'd taken to road racing. He didn't start road racing till the end of his 20s, after his long career in Supermotard. 5 times winner of the Guidon d'Or, the famous golden handlebar Supermotard race held in Paris. Bonbon, as they know him back home. And he's going to celebrate in style. Stands up on the seat of the Alstara Corona Suzuki, wheelies his way across the line. The Americans will just love that, and the burnouts which will follow. And the Alstara Corona team, they are pretty chuffed as well. So round 7 and the 7th different winner. Chambon takes it. He's top of the table on 101 points. Bontempi second. McPherson rockets back up the rankings thanks to his second place overall, 67 points. The magnificent views of Brands Hatch on a blazing hot August bank holiday weekend. Stefan Chambon in pole position alongside Bontempi, Migliorati and Meregali. Ian McPherson 7th overall in qualifying, just behind James Toseland, and 120,000 plus fans ready to see the British boys in action. Fantastic atmosphere here as Stefan Chambon heads the field safely down through Paddock Bend and then dive up the hill towards Druids. A glorious sight here on a baking afternoon. And there's McPherson staying wide and safe. And further back, a collision. Roberto Panicchi has got punted onto the grass by Vito Iannuzzo, but Iannuzzo has come off the worst. He's got his leg jammed in the rear swing arm in his Yamaha. And the red flags have to go out. The 17-year-old's stuck there. The red flags go out. We're going to have a restart. Who's going to make it this time? Chambon, of course, won here in 1997. It's his favourite track, bar none. 1998, the winner was his teammate Fabrizio Pirovano. Magnificent view of the start as they surge uphill. And for once, it's not Stefan Chambon at the front. It looks as if Pier Giorgio Bontempi has snatched the lead. Yes, he has. The man who qualified second fastest on the Belgarda Yamaha goes through the new, tighter Graham Hill bend and along the Cooper Straight in the lead. And a good start there for number 52, Jamie Toseland. In front of his home crowd, the 18-year-old Castrol Honda rider putting on a real show as they steam through Dingle Dell. Dive through Dingle Dell corner onto Stirling's, with Chambon looking to try and work his way to the front. Toseland in 5th place. Ian McPherson a couple of places behind him. And Ruben Zaus there in 4th place on the DC Jeans Yamaha. Blazing round clearways onto the start and finish straight. Ruben Zaus looking for the inside and finding it. A brave move through Paddock, forcing Meregali wide. Bontempi, of course, still hasn't given up on the possibilities of being a world champion. He's in 2nd place. He's just got to make up the gap on that little tearaway Chambon. At the moment, Chambon on 101 points is 9 points in the lead over Bontempi. Ruben Zaus, look at the way he's riding as they stream through Dingle Dell corner. He's looking for the lead, and look at Ian McPherson suddenly lighting up the Kawasaki. He's making his move, he's past Toseland, he's into 5th. Long sweeping right-hander at clearways with a huge bank of massed spectators behind it as Ruben Zaus makes his move up the inside into Paddock. Bontempi has to give way. Zaus has certainly got that move taped. But Bontempi comes straight back at Druids. That's the way to retaliate, make it quick. And then into the new tightened, deeper left-hand turn at Graham Hill, which has added about a second on to the lap times. Uphill under the bridge. And then the fast charge along Pilgrim's Drop. Heads buried in the tank. Top speeds 227 kilometres per hour from Bontempi at the front. This a classic Supersport race to lay before 120,000 fans at Brands Hatch. And remember, kids got in free, so we didn't count them on the day. Chambon dives inside at Dingle-Dell. Winner here 2 years previously. He wants to win again. Ruben Saus nearly has Bontempi at Stirling's, but not quite. And Chambon is the man who's beginning to open up a gap as McPherson wrestles his way through to third place. He wants to be on that British rostrum, doesn't he? Head absolutely buried in the tank. The nail-hard little Scotsman. Dives through paddock bend. Well, there's no one tighter through paddock than Ruben Saus. So he wasn't going to make it there, but he can make it through Druids. And look at the crowd's reception as McPherson makes his move, but a nasty moment exiting Druids there for Bontempi in fourth place. Costs him valuable fractions of a second. This is the scalding battle for second place. Chambon is pulling away, but this is the scrap for runner-up spot on the podium. McPherson has it for the moment. He has the advantage over Ruben Saus. Pilgrim's drop once again. Oh, and look at Saus. He gets back in front and then weaves his way in front of the Kawasaki as they dive down Dingle-Dell. And suddenly it looks as if McPherson might be in trouble. He's dropped a couple of places. They go through Dingle-Dell corner and McPherson is in bother. And the Kawasaki seems to almost have locked up. It's gone straight on. And Ian McPherson's gallant race is won. Engine problems once more sideline the Kawasaki. And also Steve Plater, a great ride from the British Supersport rider, comes to an end, and Jörg Teuchert goes down with him as well. So Plater and Teuchert are out, and that's bad news for Jörg Teuchert, one of the championship challengers and race winners this year. And here's Bontempi fighting with his teammate Merigali. And up ahead of them, Cristiano Migliorati has caught Ruben Saus for second and third places. Migliorati really on a mission. He's the guy whose father, who was also a racer, used to wear an item of ladies' underwear as a sort of sweatband inside his crash helmet. I wonder if Cristiano does the same. Into the final lap. Can he stay close enough to Ruben Saus? There's no one gets closer to the curb on paddock than Ruben, is there? In fact, earlier in the race, he had a horrendous moment when he got completely on the grass on the inside of clearways. But being Ruben Saus, he just kept it on the gas, sideways on, and kept his position and kept his momentum. Look at this guy sliding and slithering around on the Alstara Corona Suzuki. Stefan Bonbon Chambon. Is he going to be the first guy to win 2 races this year? So far, we've reached Brands Hatch with a different race winner every time. Stefan Chambon is about to change all that. And we can expect to see a suitably celebratory victory wheelie if he does. Down into Dingle-Dell, all on his own now. He's got a handy lead. Some 5 seconds lead now over Ruben Saus, and Saus looks as if he's probably got second place in the bag. Here he comes. There's sufficient air between him and Cristiano Migliorati unless he can make a really daft error between now and home, and of course Ruben's always capable of doing that. He's a real winner or crasher. It's the rostrum or nothing for him. Stefan Chambon, championship leader, increases the advantage and gives the crowd something to enjoy across the finishing line. And Migliorati makes a late charge and nearly snatches that second place. Behind him, Bontempi just holds on to fourth place ahead of Merigali, Kellner, and in seventh place, Jamie Tosland. So Bontempi stays in touch with Chambon at the top of the table. Pirovano leapfrogs into third place. McPherson slides to fifth, and Ruben Roos losing that race.
A difficult race, everybody close, and only Steph, he was wonderful. He did so fast, I cannot follow him. I did some mistakes and I lose the first position. I knew then I take calm, I was doing slowly laps, and then also it was so hot, so warm, and the track was also high temperature. Then the rear suspension was too soft, and it was a little bit problem to follow him. But I take the second position. It's wonderful for me, for the team, because in Laguna we had a lot of problems, technical problems, and now I want to forget. Continues the line from Misano, Monza, Nurburgring here, and finish the championship as soon as possible.
Comment ça s'est passé? Un bon départ. Apparemment, au début de course, il y avait mauvais rythme.
Yeah, it was quite a bizarre race in such a way because when it started first, I was not in such a good position, but then things started to change, and I was the one leading the pack.
Un peu trop élevé parce que je suis parti, mais c'est super.
C'est super indeed. Stefan Chambon wins, and his massive team boss, Mr. Batter, joins him on the podium. A happy pair indeed. Round 9 and a huge contrast in conditions as we reach the A1 ring in Austria. Pole position for Ruben Zaus on the DC Jeans Yamaha, 1:35.835 seconds ahead of Jörg Teuchert, Ian McPherson, Pier Giorgio Bontempi. But it's very, very wet. No problem with tyre choice here. You have to go for full wet, nothing else will suffice. And it's Bontempi who gets the charge off the line and then heads cautiously into turn 1. Oh, not quite cautiously enough. He picks it up and goes wide, and the man to benefit is Ian McPherson. McPherson bursts through on the inside and takes the lead for Kawasaki. So an entertaining start to proceedings right away. Stefan Chambon is in third place, and they surge up the hill towards the hairpin. This should be fun. The Remus curve, the slowest you've ever seen any motorcycles going through it. Absolute skid pan out here, and someone is down despite the caution. One of the guys has hit the deck, and I think that's Mark Bosciani. The Italian goes down and out as early as he possibly can, short of the first turn. Bontempi still there in second place. Christian Kellner and Ruben Zaus as they push the fallen machine clear of the track back at the hairpin. Ian McPherson's pulled out a healthy lead already in distinctly unhealthy conditions. Chambon there losing out to Ruben Zaus. Zaus is the man who's making a move at the moment as they tiptoe their way round the Niki Lauda curve down towards the Gerhard Berger curve. Rivers of water pouring across the track here in the Austrian mountains. And then it's head down and downhill towards the Hockenheim curve, which is a downhill right-hander. Oh, and suddenly down goes Zaus, and Chambon, distracted by the melee, suddenly in front of him. And they can't believe it. Both hollering at one another, and these two guys are friends, would you believe? And I think there must be oil on the track, because Ruben wasn't going too deep into that turn at all. He can't believe it, can he? The front end just went from under him. And that's a wrecked Yamaha, a wrecked Suzuki, and two very angry guys. And at the front, meantime, Jörg Teuchert takes the lead at the end of the start and finish straight from Ian McPherson. So Fearless loses the lead to an even more fearless Jörg Teuchert, and the tall, swan-necked German is at the front. The man in third place, whose colours make it look as if he's got a sort of orange novice jacket on, is Massimo Merigali. Zeelenberg's right there alongside Pirovano. Pirovano trying to go up the inside of him into the Remus hairpin. And Christian Kellner's looking very solidly planted just behind there. Jörg Teuchert leads. Merigali's through into second place, ahead of McPherson. Oh, and Pirovano's gone down, coming out of the hairpin as well. Can you believe that? A man of his experience, Pirot, receiving kind trackside attention. And here we get a rerun of it. A nasty little high side that threw the little veteran Italian hard onto the deck and out of this race. So another bad day at the office for the 1998 World Series champion in Supersports. Meantime, the first three going cautiously into the first turn. Oh, and a nasty bit of snaking there for Merigali on the entrance, and also I think he may have gone down. Did Merigali go down there? No, he went out into the gravel and sticks himself further downfield than the second place he had before. Merigali then manages to rejoin just in front of a rain master of sorts, and that is Frenchman Charpentier. Bontempi's there. Zeelenberg, Kellner, and behind them Merigali has rejoined the race just in front of the winner in the rain at the Nurburgring in 1998, Sebastian Charpentier, on the Elf Honda. At the front, we're enjoying an immaculate performance so far by Jörg Teuchert. Last time in Germany, of course, at Nürburgring, faulty tyre selection put paid to his challenge. This time there was no such problem, and he's in there. And his teammate Christian Kellner is beginning to move through the ranks as well. He's past Bontempi, he's pressing the experienced Zeelenberg. Christian Kellner, 27 years old. An off-road star before he took to road racing. And here is another very much an off-road rider before he took to road racing. Jörg Teuchert. Managing to look very careful yet very stylish at one and the same time. It's quite a feat as he charges past the start and finish line. Didn't start road racing until 1994. Won his first race at the Nurburgring in 1996. I wonder if it was raining then. On Merigali's down this time. So he was wearing that novice jacket for good reason. Merigali chucks it away in the rain. The Belgada Yamaha out. The Team Deutschland Yamaha, meantime, definitely not. Spraying his way round the A1 ring. Jörg Teuchert, all that experience as a leading German junior enduro rider must have really held him in good stead on a day like this. In both 1987 and 1989, he was the German junior enduro champion. So a lot of off-road experience behind this guy. He even finished an international 6 days enduro riding for Germany. So he really was a national star at enduro level before turning to road racing, finishing second in the Yamaha 600 Cup in 1994. 8th in the German Supersport Championship in 1995 and Rookie of the Year. Christian Kellner, his teammate, has moved through into second place. He finished 4th in the German Supersport Series last year, the series that has been twice won by his teammate Jörg Teuchert. Both of them come from Bavaria. Both still enjoy messing about on motocross bikes, and both obviously enjoy riding in the rain, especially in Germany. Teuchert has a good, comfortable cushion over his teammate. Kellner, in turn, looks as if he can just hang on and sit in to second place without any pressure on him. Zeelenberg now nearly 10 seconds behind him as Jörg Teuchert, what a magnificent sight as he goes into the final lap down the rain-soaked start and finish straight at the A1 ring into the first turn. And there's a confident man, a wave and a thumbs up to the large crowd on his left-hand side as if to say, I've got this taped, I think. You're going to have a German win. His dad actually rode enduros and road racing until the 1980s, so it's hardly surprising that he ended up racing a motorcycle. Behind the dominant Yamaha Deutschland boys, Zeelenberg, his experience really telling in these awful conditions, is lying third. Ian McPherson, equally experienced, former winner, of course, of the Bol d'Or 24-hour race. He's in 4th place. 5th, another world endurance star, Pier Giorgio Bontempi. And 6th place in these conditions, Walter Damon, the Belgian Yamaha rider, 27-year-old blonde Belgium, who rarely shows that well in World Supersports and until conditions get like this. Jörg Teuchert, definitely a new star on the World Supersport Series. And there's Walter Damon having the audacity to overtake down through the Gosser curve past the, well, that sort of black gossamer being worn by Pier Giorgio Bontempi. Number 20, Walter Damon, as they lap Vito Iannuzzo, the 17-year-old, not going so fast in these conditions. Bontempi hanging on to the back of Damon's Yamaha. He can't afford to lose too many points. He's seen Chambon crash out, so he knows he's got a chance of pulling vital points back on the championship leader. Teuchert will move back into third place in the championship with this victory. And there's a man without his raincoat on, armed with a checkered flag, to acknowledge victory for Jörg Teuchert. Udo Mark and his German team thrilled with that. And Walter Damon still in 5th place into the last turn, ahead of Pier Giorgio Bontempi. The race for the line behind Ian McPherson. And Bontempi just shades it by half a wheel ahead of the luckless Belgian there. Damon gives him a wave, and at the front, the waves are all going from Teuchert and Kellner towards the crowd. Yamaha Deutschland 1-2. Chambon then leads the championship by just 10 points from Bontempi, but the winner of the race was Jörg Teuchert.
In the first round it was very difficult. So much riders passed me, and it was a really very hard fight. And in the end of the first round, Xaus was on the left side, and I saw I can pass him, and he crashed. And I saw there's some oil on the street, and I think you must go very easy in this corner. And I pushed in the first rounds very hard, and I saw I can drive much faster. And my crew showed me 10, 11, 12, 17 seconds before. So, okay, stop now. Not so fast, but the difference was always the same. And I stopped always my speed, but it was very easy for me this day. And I must say a very big thank you to Yamaha Deutschland, to my team, to Dunlop. All people works very hard this weekend, and I think this is a result of very big, good work of the complete season and this weekend.
Brilliant German from Jörg Teuchert. He wins it in a Yamaha 1-2-3 from Kellner and Zeelenberg. Just 7 days later, conditions couldn't have been much more different as we reached Assen and the fabulous, sinuous 6-kilometre, 3.76 mile circuit in the Netherlands. On pole position, 2 minutes 9.874 seconds for Ian McPherson, ahead of Chambon, Zaus and William Kost. Second row of the grid, Kellner, Bontempi, Migliorati and Merigali. The sun is shining. There's a huge crowd with over 30,000 British fans amongst them. And that man on the green Kawasaki trying to give them what they want, but not quite holding on for the whole shot. Stefan Chambon, champion-elect, bursts through to the front, and Ruben Zaus follows underneath Ian McPherson as they veer through that long sweeping first turn. Chambon, Zaus, McPherson, and an Elf Honda, probably William Kost off the front row of the grid, lying in 4th place. It is Kost, and he's followed by Carl Muggeridge. Carl Muggeridge making a guest appearance on the 10 Kate Honda, the Dutch-based squad who haven't had a rider since David de Gier defected to the 500cc Grand Prix. And although he didn't qualify that well, Muggeridge down in 11th place during qualification. He's obviously on the pace here as he moves through swiftly past Kellner into 5th place, but the yellow flags are out, and that's because Pier Giorgio Bontempi has crashed, and crashed heavily. The man in 2nd place in the championship, he's dislocated a shoulder, he's broken a wrist in 2 places. He won't be able to ride at Hockenheim, so the championship looks almost certain to go to number 3 Stefan Chambon, the 2nd title in a row for the Alstara Corona Suzuki team. But look at the race we've got on our hands here. Zaus leads, Chambon 2nd, Muggeridge in 3rd place, McPherson, Kost and the rest. Tremendous race going on here at Assen in front of a sun-baked and huge crowd. Stefan Chambon pushes his way to the front. These guys still good friends despite what happened in the A1 ring a week previously in the rain. Carl Muggeridge in 3rd, McPherson 4th, William Kost 5th. Jörg Teuchert and Christian Kellner 6th and 7th. What a superb race, and there is Carl Muggeridge forcing his way into second place. McPherson also passing Stefan Chambon. Muggeridge, the 24-year-old from Tweed Heads, New South Wales, side by side now with Ruben Zaus, absolutely clashing legs, arms, elbows and fairings with the Spaniard. And he takes the lead. What a smoking performance from Muggeridge. Muggeridge is at the front ahead of Ruben Zaus, McPherson and Chambon. Can Muggeridge hang on, riding that 10 Kate Honda like it's never been ridden before? David de Gia's only moment of prominence, of course, was that front row qualification position at Donington Park before he crashed out in the first turn. Now he's gone off to do not a very great deal in the 500 Grand Prix. Muggeridge taking over, and in fact taking over to such good effect that 10 Kate Honda offered him a ride for the whole of the 2000 season. Muggeridge leads then, McPherson, Zaus, Chambon trying to get round Ruben Zaus. James Tosland is in the pack, and the man at the back of that leading pack is number 74, and that is Carl Harris, the 19-year-old British rider from Sheffield, who is winning the European Superstock Championship, should I say, for a Suzuki on the GSXR 750. And that is why the Endug Metal Systems team have asked him to deputise for Yves Briguet on their Suzuki. At the front, McPherson leads, Muggeridge second. Carl Harris, incidentally, has been told to keep out of trouble because he wants to seal his European Superstock Championship before he goes really hard racing in the 600s, and that he very sensibly is doing. Ruben Zaus attacking Carl Muggeridge once again. Look at these two young lions side by side, bumping one another at 160 odd miles per hour down the back straight, to such effect that Stefan Chambon sails past the two of them. Fabulous racing. Two very brave boys indeed, or are they just mad? Chambon then second, Ruben Zaus third, fourth Muggeridge. And all the time, number 6, Cristiano Migliorati is beginning to make moves as well. Number 23, Ruben Zaus, the unmistakable leggy style of the man from Barcelona who's found his match in the out-and-out Courage Stakes. Muggeridge is next up, and look at Migliorati just behind Stefan Chambon. And that wide line of Muggeridges as they sweep round that double apex left-hander really throws everybody else, doesn't it? Muggeridge goes up the inside into the final chicane, snatches second place back, but meantime, the man who's setting the fastest laps is that kiddie who's running away at the front, the 31-year-old Scotsman, Ian McPherson, heading for possibly his second race win of the season since winning that Kyalami opener. Stefan Chambon dives underneath Carl Muggeridge into the first turn. The anxious Alstara Corona squad watching their screen in the pits. Zaus, Chambon, Muggeridge, and Cristiano Migliorati, who's been just zapping his way through the pack. And now beginning to look a challenge. But look at the man at the front, he's clearing off. Brilliant ride by Ian McPherson. Actually, brilliant rides by all these guys, I'm sure you'll agree. Second place, Ruben Zaus. Third, Stefan Chambon. Fourth, Carl Muggeridge. Fifth, Cristiano Migliorati. Sixth place, Jörg Teuchert. Seventh place for Jamie Tosland, and there number 74 Carl Harris just in behind Tosland's teammate number 17 Pero Reba. In front of him the winner here in 1997, Wilco Zielenberg. The winner in 1998 of course was Vito Goreski, who outwitted Pirovano and Chambon in the very last chicane to take that race win. Migliorati finished fourth that day, and he's certainly looking to better that now. At the moment he is in fifth place, but he's pressing Muggeridge and Chambon hard. This then, the race for second place, and a fantastic duel it is too. The guys in the 10K Honda pit must be absolutely overjoyed with the way their machine is running. You can see Teuchert there, Tosland there, number 52, number 25, William Kost. Into that final chicane where the story will truly be told on the last lap. Chambon just hanging on to his line ahead of Carl Muggeridge. As Muggeridge's got the sheer speed to deal with Migliorati's Endug Metal System Suzuki as they head towards turn 1. There goes McPherson. He's still in there in 4th place. Teuchert still looking menacing there, right behind Migliorati. And Tosland, well, as the season's gone on, he and the CBR 600F Honda got faster and faster as Chambon sails past the Yamaha. The Alstara Corona Suzuki into 2nd place. And of course, the more points he racks up, the more absolutely sure he is of winning the World Championship right here. There is Carl Harris, number 74, staying out of trouble as he was instructed to do. What a wonderfully mature ride from the teenage Englishman. And there's Migliorati, slipstreaming his way down the back straight into 2nd place. 247 kilometers per hour there. The 30-year-old from Brescia, now 2nd for Suzuki. The guy who started road racing in 1992, finishing 3rd in the 750 GSXR Suzuki Cup in Italy. Carl Muggeridge, a lad who started racing motocross and supercross when he was a kid and had a 9-year career in that until, as a teenager, he turned his attentions to road racing. And like many of these guys, it's amazing how many of them win their first race, isn't it? He first rode at Lakeside, Queensland in 1994 and won there. Migliorati's in 2nd place, 3rd place Ruben Saus, 4th place Muggeridge. And one of the Team Italia riders, Risitano's crashed out. He's out of proceedings. McPherson certainly isn't. He's well on the gas. And at the moment, these 3 guys are tussling over 2 rostrum places. Migliorati and Saus are the guys who have them at the moment. Muggeridge is the guy who doesn't. 3 laps to go as they stream across the finishing line. Buried in their tank. And the red flag's out. The red flag's out. There's been an oil spillage towards the end of the back straight, and suddenly the guys are going down. And that was the first guy to suffer, or the first 2 guys to suffer the consequences. And there's 3 of them down at the end of that main straight. So the race stands as McPherson 1st, Migliorati 2nd, Ruben Saus 3rd, Muggeridge 4th, and Stefan Chambon in 5th place.
I did a bad start, but lap by lap I'm coming up. So when I was 2nd, I tried to take McPherson, but he was so far away from me, and 2nd place is good for me. I'm happy.
Very difficult. I got not a brilliant start and I had to work my way through, and that was hard work itself. And then when I got to the front, maybe my concentration wasn't quite as high as it should have been. I don't know, because I was quite quick in practice, I thought it might have been easier, and maybe I didn't want to push too hard. But towards the end there, I saw my lead coming down from 4 seconds to, I think it was 2.8, and I thought I better get my finger out. So I think I did my fastest lap just in the last lap there. So I would have responded with something.
What he did respond with was a new 103 mile per hour record lap, but the man not on the podium, Stefan Chambon, almost certainly world champion. 7 days later, the final round at the Hockenheim Ring in Germany, where it's sunny for a change. And the man on pole position, Stefan Chambon, already is certain to be world champion because Pier Giorgio Bontempi hasn't been able to make the start of this race after crashing and injuring himself at Assen. So Chambon is the man who is world champ, Can he finish off with a race win? He certainly can finish off with a whole shot as he screams towards the first turn of this ultra-fast circuit, sweeps through the first right-hander. He's in the lead. Chambon then leads. The question really is, can Ian Macpherson, who qualified in 3rd place on the grid, snatch 2nd place in the series from the absent Bontempi? Already Ruben Zaus is the man challenging his dear little friend Bonbon Chambon. But Chambon stays in the lead, and it's Ruben Zaus who loses 2nd place to a determined, fearless Macpherson, and the man behind them, once again, number 76, the yellow 10K Honda of Carl Muggeridge. Muggeridge attracting a lot of interest and attention here in the World Supersports paddock. And he's not going to be alone, because that boy Carl Harris is back out there again, riding the Endug Metal Systems Suzuki in place of Yves Briguet, with the strong possibility of riding for them in the year 2000 full-time. Riders fanning out down the fast, long straights here at Hockenheim. And a big crash there. Looks like Merigali has destroyed his Belgada Yamaha. So poor Merigali started off the year with a nasty crash in Kyalami and ends the year with one at Hockenheim. These guys, however, all in one piece and going for it. Chambon leads, Zaus tailing him. Muggeridge, Carl Harris, number 74. And another faller. Chambon bursts back into the arena. Oh, look at Ruben Zaus skating into the left-hander on that R6 Yamaha of the DC Jeans team. Stefan Chambon, already World Supersports champion. All he really wants is a safe race. While it would be nice to win it, the main thing is to stay upright and claim his trophy at the end of the day. Chambon, Zaus, Jörg Teuchert on home territory once again, of course. Ian Macpherson, Carl Muggeridge, and look at that boy, Carl Harris, just 2 places behind Carl Muggeridge. The 2 Carls doing a great job here at Hockenheim. One on Honda, the other on Suzuki. Sebastian Charpentier is the man who's in the thick of things there as well, and Pirovano tailing him and Harris. Ian Macpherson has never raced round Hockenheim before, so this is going to be a spectacular baptism of fire for Fearless. Chambon, Zaus, Teuchert, Fearless Macpherson, followed by Muggeridge and Carl Harris. Carl Harris has run straight from winning the European Superstock race on his GSXR 750, jumped on the Endug Metal Systems 600 Suzuki, and here he is out challenging the leading group. What a remarkable performance. 2nd place now for Stefan Chambon. Ruben Zaus has found a way round him. And here they go, tailing one another, then fanning out down the straights. Macpherson takes the left-hand side. Wilco Zeelenberg propels himself through from absolutely nowhere onto the rear wheel of Ruben Zaus's teammate in 3rd place. 4th Teuchert, 5th Macpherson. James Toseland is in there as well, but not for very long, because Toseland ends up getting punted off the track at the end of this straight on the right-hander coming back into the arena. Carl Harris braking heavily up the inside, through into 3rd place there. Meantime, Carl Muggeridge is beginning to slide back down the field because of a problem with the adjustment with his clutch. A really infuriated young Australian went back and remonstrated eventually with his team when he was forced out of the race. They'd simply forgotten to adjust the clutch before he went out. It began to slip, and that's the end of his challenge. Chambon leads. 2nd place, Ruben Zaus. 3rd place, Carl Harris. Wow, what a ride. He's 19-year-old former schoolboy motocross champion, number 74. Ian Macpherson. 6th in the British Superbike Series for Kawasaki back in 1997, including winning one race up at Knockhill in Scotland. And you can see Perariba beginning to move through, number 17, alongside James Toseland, his teammate, and Sebastian Charpentier on the Elf Honda. So 3 Hondas absolutely together, leading the 2nd wave of riders here at Hockenheim. Carl Harris demoted there by Macpherson and Teuchert. Ruben Zaus now the man in third place. Wilco Zeelenberg chasing Stefan Chambon at the front. And this is the sort of race, wonderful race that we get at Hockenheim that is simply never decided until almost the last bend. Screaming through the long right-hander and heading for home. Stefan Chambon at the moment leads. Ian McPherson sweeping down the right-hand side of the track, but Wilco Zeelenberg's there, and Carl Harris has gone right up the inside into the second chicane. He sneaks back into third place once again. The kid could end up on the rostrum at this pace. Chambon's at the front. This is the approach to the crucial right-hander back into the stadium. Stefan holds it. Oh, and Harris has the audacity to almost go around the outside of Wilco Zeelenberg's Yamaha. At least Ruben Zaus is getting some idea of one of the kids he's going to have to deal with, who's a bit younger than himself, when the year 2000 welcomes the second ever World Supersport Championship Series. It's going to be another corker, because of course James Whittam will be there also on a Belgada Yamaha. Harris, Muggeridge, together with all the established stars who've made this such a blistering series in 1999, including the race leader here, Stefan Chambon, Wilco Zeelenberg, Carl Harris, Ruben Zaus fourth. Sixth place at the moment for McPherson. Seventh place, Cristiano Migliorati has come through. There's Francis Batta and his crew keeping a close eye on little Stefan Chambon. Is that edge of the seat stuff or what? Oh, and there's Wilco Zeelenberg, gets almost nudged straight on by Ruben Zaus. Well, how's that for teamwork? The DC Jeans Yamaha guys, one knocking the other off the track. So Wilco Zeelenberg from second place is suddenly out of contention. Chambon's got a few inches of daylight between him. Harris now in second place, and Ruben Zaus charging up his inside. Oh, two brave hearts together here, sizing one another up, if that's the word for it, side by side down the straight. And look at that kid McPherson coming round the outside, but it's Zaus who gets up the inside into second place. Carl Harris finds himself back in fourth, and he's got Teuchert for company. This is a track that Teuchert will know well from his 2 seasons winning the German Supersports Championship. Heads down. McPherson dips underneath Ruben Zaus. And the man who's been in the lead for a surprisingly long time, Stefan Chambon. He'd love to win this, wouldn't he, and go out in style as World Supersports Champion of 1999. There's a lot of work to do yet, 4 laps to go. Anybody's race. There's a bit of daylight between the first 3 and the rest right now. Harris takes a look over his left shoulder, so too does Teuchert. Harris sees Teuchert, Teuchert sees empty space. So those two now battling over 4th place. Further back, it's Migliorati, Pirovano. Perariba's in there as well. And Wilco Zeelenberg has rejoined the race and is just inside the top 10. Final lap then, and look at Ian McPherson trying to go the long way round, but losing out to both Chambon and Zaus through the first chicane. Building up to an enormous crescendo. A great climax to a great season. Chambon leads. Zaus second. McPherson looking for the way around the two of them. Ooh, and keeps looking at the outside. Can't quite find the room. Hardly surprisingly. Out onto the final flat-out burst. Mr. Batta looking fit to burst. Chambon, his boy, is still at the front. But look at McPherson, looking this time perhaps for an inside line going into the second chicane and finding it, ooh, almost getting underneath Ruben Zaus, but not quite. Jörg Teuchert, however, did find a way underneath Carl Harris. Harris has got to try and repass if he's going to get that 4th place. I don't think he's going to make it onto the roster, but look at McPherson. What a draft he caught then from both the Suzuki and the Yamaha. Thrust the Kawasaki the long way round them, and he's in front. Chambon in second place. And there's only a left and right-hander to go. Can Ian McPherson hang on for his third race win of the year? This not an easy... Oh, and Zaus! Look at him hurtling up the inside, forcing Chambon wide. Has he forced him wide enough? Yes, he has. Zaus goes through into second place. Carl Harris has gone through into fourth place, so McPherson wins it. Ruben Zaus is second. Stefan Chambon looks almost dismayed with himself for third, but he is the new world champion. Congratulations for Ian McPherson, the only man to win more than 2 races during the season, and the new world champion, Stefan Bonbon Chambon.
You just try and get to the front when you can. You've just got to do what you can when you can out there. It's so difficult. It's the first time I've raced at Hockenheim, first time ever at the circuit. And it's not just that, it's because the type of circuit it is, it's very fast and need a lot of slipstream, and we've not got that at Knockhill, so it was tactically, it was very difficult for me, but I managed to work out some tactics during the race.
Yes, you're right. It must have been a very nice race to watch on TV, and I knew also that it would be very tough to finish, to get ahead of the others in the last lap. But I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be on the podium, and that's it.
Ian McPherson snatches second place in the championship from Pier Giorgio Bontempi, with Teuchert fourth, Ruben Zaus fifth, Christian Kellner sixth. And that shed load of Yamahas ensuring that Yamaha's brilliant R6 takes the World Manufacturers' Championship. Bonbon then, world champion 1999.